Hello, I'm Dr. George Everly. The COVID-19 pandemic will likely be a defining event for an entire generation. By the end of this pandemic, we will see several million cases of the disease worldwide. But what of the hidden pandemic? I've studied disaster in 39 countries on 6 continents, and I've studied a wide array of disasters, very different things. Tornadoes, hurricanes, floods, war, terrorism. And while they seem very different, because they are different agents, what we also find is that they follow a predictable pattern, a trajectory, psychologically. History teaches that there will always be more people adversely affected psychologically than adversely affected physically. This is what I call the hidden pandemic. If history repeats itself, we can expect to see the same pattern of adverse psychological reactions unfold during and after the COVID-19 pandemic. Let me describe for you briefly the pattern or the trajectory of the psychological phases that we are experiencing and will experience, if indeed history repeats itself. The first part of the phase is the impact phase. This is where the pandemic first becomes known. In many parts of the country, we are actually leaving the so-called impact phase. Here, the number of new cases is dramatically declining. Soon, we will get through this and we will enter the honeymoon phase. We are reopening the country as I speak, hoping to return to some semblance of normal life. But honeymoons seldom last forever. And so we will likely soon enter another phase. We'll call that the disillusionment phase, perhaps the anger phase. Those who have been previously challenged psychologically may react more severely than many others. Generally speaking, though, as we all struggle to recover, to rebuild, we may encounter grief, depression, frustration, anger, and perhaps despair. Certainly, we will enter into the game of pointing fingers and casting blame, not understanding that divisiveness erodes our resilience. It undermines our recovery, but we will do it nevertheless. With the phase of disillusionment, some will fall into the great abyss of despair. This is where we encounter consuming depression, helplessness, feelings of hopelessness. It is here that dark thoughts can turn to dark realities. It is here some of us may even consider ending careers, ending marriages, or even ending our lives. As society, as a nation, we will get through this. Physically, most will heal. Psychologically, most will recover and resume their lives or construct new lives. On the anniversary of this pandemic, we will pause and remember. Then we will move on. Some will re-experience the angst of the past year at this point, but they too will move on. Moving on does not mean forgetting, however. It simply means moving on. So how can we get started? Here are a few points that I've found in 41 years that seem to help people move on and perhaps even grow in the wake of adversity. First and foremost, be kind to yourself. Be compassionate with others. When angered or annoyed, try for even just a moment to take another person's perspective. Try to see the world through their eyes. In the children's book, Rodney Makes a Friend, even little Rodney Rabbit learns there are 2 points of view on almost everything. And in discovering this, he is actually able to increase his social intelligence. Unplug from the relentless media efforts to capture your attention with predictions of viral and economic apocalypse. Watch enough to stay responsibly informed, but no more. Take care of yourself physically and psychologically. When you're physically exhausted, your immune system becomes depressed. Left to its own devices, the mind descends into an abyss of darkness, of worry, of despair. Mindfulness combats worry. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, be mindful of it. Be there. Control what you can. Cope with what you can't. But remember, the only thing you can really control is how we react to things. And that's an important message moving forward. Staying connected to others, even if physically distant, makes you stronger. This is a time to rekindle old friendships or bury old hatchets. Though we are often eager to help others in distress, learning the principles of psychological first aid can help us ease another's pain beyond the simple Hail Mary we often offer when we say things like, everything will be okay. Here at Johns Hopkins, we've developed ways to thoughtfully use the principles of psychological first aid to help those in acute distress. The pursuit of perfection is a fool's errand. Do your best, accept excellence. Be grateful what you have. Pay homage to what age or misfortune has taken away from you, but keep moving forward. There's a reason the windshield is large and the rear view mirror is small. Remember that seeking formal psychological or psychiatric treatment, when needed, helps not only you, but it helps those you love and those who depend on you. They deserve the best you can be. Lastly, draw strength from the fact that wherever you are and whatever you do, you are part of something greater than yourself. Whether you know it or not, you are never alone. I shall adapt the words of Christopher Robin speaking to Pooh as we move on our journey in this post-pandemic world. Robin said, "Promise me you'll always remember you're braver than you believe. You're stronger than you seem. You're smarter than you think." I'm Dr. George Everly. Thank you for listening.